Hello, everybody. Hello. Real football fans of New Jersey here. We are live tonight on all platforms. We are on Facebook, the Gram, the Twitter,
and the YouTube.
Hopefully you're hanging out with us live. And if not, definitely give us a listen on our podcast, whenever you get a chance, morning commute,
Instagram's
afternoon commute, whatever you got.
If y'all are still commuting, we don't even know. If you're commuting from your bed to your couch to your desk, your kitchen table,
like listen to us while you're doing dishes, laundry, whatever. So
that's a good, I like to do that. I hate doing the dishes. Like it's really,
I always put on music or something.
It's the bane of my existence.
Got to get you grooving.
You got to do something.
So this is episode 131. We are mid-October now. We're getting almost mid-season for the NFL, which is pretty crazy.
Wild.
And of course, we have plenty to talk about tonight. A lot of breaking news in the last 24, 48 hours. We're going to talk about it all. But let's start our show. We polled you guys on our Instagrams. We have 3 questions for you. 2 are football related. 1 is housewives. And our first question, let's kick it off. Which rookie quarterback have you been more impressed by so far this season? Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert? We had 72% of the voters say Mr. Justin Herbert. Did we think we would be here at this point in the season?
I didn't even think, exactly. I think we spoke about that, on the show a couple weeks back, kind of seeing, we asked a bunch of things. We asked about Justin, we asked about Tua, we asked about Jalen Hurts. When do we think these backup quarterbacks are going to go
we knew Joe Burrow was a day one starter.
So that's why I think I'm a little bit more, so I am agreeing with the 72%. I'm leaning more toward Justin Herbert because of the situation that he's in. This is very situational. We knew Joe Burrow was going to be the starter, and this takes nothing away. I'm very impressed with Joe Burrow.
Impressed by both of them.
Very much so. Where I'm the most impressed with Justin Herbert, though, obviously the situation going in for a veteran like Tyrod Taylor. He is so cool, calm, and collected in the pocket. That was one of the pieces of feedback that the coaching staff gave to him during Hard Knocks. And I think I said this on the show last week or the week before, that he can't make these sudden movements, that he can't show off where he's going to go, because a defensive line in the NFL next level,
they can read that.
They're going to see these little minor things. And you're talking about a kid who is practicing up against someone like Tyrod Taylor, who is that poised, cool, calm, and collective. You wouldn't even see, he's like a church mouse. You wouldn't even be able to hear him, see him. He's so quick, so silent. Justin Herbert has looked tremendously almost flawless right now.
And that's the thing. Like, I feel like with this question, it's not even necessarily asking people, who do you think is better right now? I think the reason that it's 72% Justin Herbert is because everybody kind of had like high expectations for Joe Burrow, and he's been meeting them. People didn't know when Justin Herbert was going to get a chance. And he wasn't like going when the NFL draft was going on, he wasn't that surefire bet. Like, is this kid going to be a good NFL player, or is he kind of be a bust? And he's been super impressive so far. My favorite thing about him is the kid throws laser beams.
He's got a cannon.
It's insane.
Kid's got a cannon.
Absolutely.
And you wouldn't even know from his face after he threw a cannon, because he's just like the Eli Manning face. Just the, I'm just here to play football.
But that's a part of him being cool, calm, and collected.
I love it.
It's working for him. Question number 2, who is more likely to pick up their first win of the season in week 6, the Falcons over the Minnesota Vikings, or the New York Jets division game against the Miami Dolphins? 79% have faith that the Falcons will beat the Vikings more so than the Jets beating Miami. What did you go with on this one?
I ended up going with the Falcons on this one too.
Me too.
I think if the Jets were playing another poor team, maybe if they were playing the Falcons or the Giants or someone else, maybe I'd lean a little bit more towards the Jets. But since it's a division game, that division plays themselves really well, no matter how bad, how good they are. We've seen the top-notch Patriots of years past fall to the Dolphins, Jets, in times past. So I think they play each other well. I think Miami, Fitzmagic's going to go out there and do some magic. So
Miami's been, I'm not going to say good, but I think they've been a lot better than anybody has expected.
I think that's a good
so. You kind of look at this breakdown, and I feel like, I believe Atlanta is a better team than the Jets, and I feel like Atlanta is playing a sketchier team in Minnesota, who's been weird, rather than Miami, who's actually been sort of consistent. So that's why I went with Atlanta. Question number 3, this is going off of something we talked about last week. I did my get it off my chest. I was shooting for Bravo to have a dating show featuring Andy Cohen. We want him to find love. Would you watch that dating show for Andy? 82% of you said yes. Why not? I mean,
yeah.
I feel like it would make great television.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just turning the camera around, turning the lens on Andy. He's so used to being the moderator and filming everybody else's life. Like, let us in a little bit to yours.
Yeah, we want to see your life a little bit more. Like, it could be like on Fire Island, maybe.
That
like,
would be awesome. Like a Fire Island dating show. I like it. That's a great idea.
Andy's,
let's go to the Bravo headquarters and pitch
Fire
this.
Island.
We gotta pitch this.
Love on Fire Island.
I love it.
I mean, we could just like workshop a couple ideas, but I think like for the title,
we'll workshop it.
We'll workshop.
All right, and then we polled you guys what we did. As always, we will always take fan questions if you have them. I got one today, wanted a little bit of fantasy football advice. And I feel like this is definitely a question that would make you ponder. In fantasy football, the person who sent in the question needed to pick up a defense this week. So he asked, do I pick up the Miami Dolphins defense, who will be playing the New York Jets, or should I pick up the Washington football team's defense over the New York Giants?
Yeah.
I get where you're going with it, buddy. You want to have your defense play one of the worst teams, the Jets or the Giants. Who would you go with on this one? Miami defense or Washington defense?
For me, this is going to be, first of all, I think it's a game time decision. I think you need to sit on it a little bit until the weekend and make your
players
final
could
decision.
be hurt. You never know.
Well, that's definitely one of the biggest keys there. It's interesting because, we did finally see the Giants get a little bit of momentum, a little bit of spark last week against Dallas. But again, up against one of the worst defenses in the league. Right. But who's to say that maybe, things aren't flowing in the New York locker room for the New York Giants right now? The Jets, on the other hand, not really seeing that mojo. I thought we might have seen it a little bit with Joe Flacco starting, but didn't really get the sense of it. Maybe this week it might come back. But hands down, the Washington football team just has a good defense and maybe everything else on their team just isn't showing up great. So maybe a lot of people look, turn the other way. Right. But they do have a solid defense and it's pretty terrifying. Like, I'm not looking forward to going up against Chase Young this weekend. But so I think, definitely think about it. Take mine and Katie's advice today, but also sit on it, look around. But I'm going to go with the Washington football team on this one.
I'm going with Washington as well. I kind of broke it down into 2 parts. You look at the defenses, Miami versus Washington, but then you also look at the offenses, who's got a better offense, the Jets and the Giants. The Jets and the Giants, statistically right now, their offense, they're pretty much exactly the same, and they're both at the bottom of the barrel.
Not good.
Then you actually have Washington and Miami, who both have like top 15 defenses. Washington is a little bit better statistically. That's why I'm going with them. Also, I hate to say it, but until he proves us otherwise, Daniel Jones has been turning the ball over. And that's an issue. And so I'm going with Washington on this one.
Yep, good point.
All right. Thank you for that question. And again, we are live. Anything you want to send over, we will stop and we will answer it for you.
Yeah, we'll answer your cues or maybe just react to your commentary. So getting into the big stories of the week for football. But real quick, I did want to point out the t-shirts that I'm wearing. Katie and I, women supporting women. You
got to move your wine glass so I can see it.
So I'm wearing a shirt and it says The Breakdown on it. So this is for an organization. Sports, content site called The Breakdown Sports. A group of guys, they have guys spanning across all over the country. They talk about every single sport you can imagine. They get into betting, things like that. Okay. They're big supporters of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. They are always sharing our streams every week. So thank you to them.
Very appreciative.
But yeah, Katie and I are always going out and grabbing merch from, our favorite Etsy shops for the Real Housewives. We're always grabbing our great Giants gear at all the softball games and grabbing things from like Talking Giants, things like that. We love to support other organizations when it comes to housewives and sports. So when you get a chance, it is spelt a little differently. So if you look up, it's BRKDWN. So The Breakdown Sports. That's how it's spelled. You can find them on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and their website. Oh, and YouTube as well. So and they pump out content in like every which way too. So it's articles, it's live streams, it's podcasts. That's cool. if you want to read, if you want to listen, you do whatever you want. So a big shout out to those guys.
Yes.
Thanks for supporting us. We're supporting you. So keep doing what you're doing. But,
Absolutely.
So yeah, just want to do that shout out there. And let's get into the big stories of the week for football.
Yes.
So this is holy moly.
Long time coming here.
Long overdue. It's
Yeah.
finally happened. We asked you about it last week when it was coming. Did you think it was coming? And guess what? It came. So the Falcons have fired not only their head coach and Dan Quinn, but their general manager as well, Thomas Dimitroff. So listen, they started off the season 0-5 for the first time since 1997.
Yeah, I mean, this Atlanta Falcons team, they've never, as far as I can remember, I think they became a franchise in the early 90s, I want to say. Maybe before that. Maybe I'm wrong. But I can't remember the last time the Falcons like had a real stretch of being bad. They had a long stretch of consistently making the playoffs.
Yeah, well, you think about like the Michael Vick era, and it was like
course,
that's when the Falcons were like, holy shit,
and a good run with Matt Ryan.
Absolutely, and that's where that kind of shift over the past couple of years has been with the Matt Ryan era as well. They've always been a team that it's not, you don't look past them. You don't.
I never count them out, even at 0-5. Like
I'm still kind of
you still have to look at their matchup that week and be like, they could maybe win that.
No, absolutely. So I don't know what's going on there. You know me, I was royally pissed off at them last year. And I see the same issues. It's what is going on? You have the talent there. You have the names there. So they go to head coach and general manager, which many teams go to. And maybe it is just time. Defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris, is the interim head coach as of right now. So Dimitroff was in the middle of his 13th season with Atlanta.
Long time.
It was. It's always good. I think a lot of teams, when general manager switches happen or shakeups happen, I think sometimes people neglect to realize how long some of these tenures are for these general managers. And it's not like a one and done, like a head coach or maybe couple of years. Like they really try to keep, it's a big investment for teams.
And that's why it really is. Sometimes a team looks at it and they just say, you know what, we've been this way for a long time. And I think we just need a new look and a fresh start.
Yeah. So, and then Dan Quinn was with the team for 5 seasons, which actually
felt longer.
I was just about to say that 5 actually seems a little
felt
short.
a lot longer.
And he's finishing with a 43-42 regular season record.
500.
Yeah. During his span, he made 2 playoff trips and a Super Bowl appearance in 2016.
Right.
So, maybe the one upper there would have been the Super Bowl appearance being a W. But obviously that was a painstaking loss for a lot of Falcons fans out there. I think football fans in general will not ever forget blowing that large ass lead in 2016.
And you're right, because I feel like people are willing to look past an 0-5 start and give people the benefit of the doubt if you've recently put a Super Bowl ring on your finger. You know what I mean? So absolutely. But yeah, we all felt this was coming. And I feel as though, are we paused on our,
oh no,
we're back. Okay.
That was weird.
I gotta be honest with you though, because Dan Quinn was like so on the hot seat last year, it just feels kind of, it would have been better just to be fired at the end of last year rather than do it in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
That to me never makes sense.
Barely even in the middle of the season. We're 5 weeks in.
But owner Arthur Blank did explain himself and he said, I feel like because of how strongly we finished last year, and they did, I think they won their last 7 of like 9 games, which was huge after they started 0 and whatever.
Right.
And he said, because of how we finished last year, I wanted to, give it a go.
Yeah.
But now you've proven again that here we are and you're starting very slowly at the beginning of the season and it's just not going to work. So some other things we wanted to talk about, kind of some quick hot topic headlines, anything we want to elaborate on, we certainly can. I know you're going to have feelings about one of them for sure. That is Nick Saban, head coach of Alabama football team. He tested positive for COVID. That just broke a couple hours ago.
The Rona got Saban.
They got a huge game against Georgia this Saturday, which I got to believe is probably going to be postponed.
Yeah.
You said that the players are going to be tested now. And I've got to imagine your head coach. I'm not going to be surprised if more positive tests pop up.
Yeah. So they're following the protocols very similar to what the NFL doing is basically it's like the daily tests, I believe. So obviously over the past couple of days since their last game on Saturday, a lot of negatives have come back, which is great. Today, unfortunately, Nick Saban did come back positive, and so did their athletic trainer. I think their head athletic trainer. So that's a little concerning too, because clearly the trainer is in the players' faces, helping them, helping them do their physical therapy, things like that.
Very hands-on.
I mean, I know I'm trying to say that in like the most professional. Like they're in their face. It's so it's a little. Definitely concerning. So we're going to just have to see what happens there. They left the facility immediately, and they are starting their 2-week mandatory quarantine at their home. So, I mean, listen, I know that, college football has taken a hit for sure with a couple of things. We see the LSU Florida game has been postponed due to a couple of cases in Florida. But a bunch of, coaches, one of the college coaches, I believe, had tested positive. And he coached remotely. Don't put this past Nick Saban. He's going to coach wherever you put him. So
Nick Saban also, and if you can't tell based on all of the people who have been under him in his coaching treehouse at Alabama have gone on to get NFL jobs.
Yeah.
So if they have to do it without Nick Saban, they can. There's been times where I'm a Duke basketball fan and Coach K has had some health issues over the last couple of years. And it's like, okay, if he has to miss a game, look at the staff around him. They can handle it. So that's how I feel Alabama is.
You're absolutely correct. He builds around him. He only has the best of the best. He's got great assistant coaches. And those players, it's Nick Saban's in your mind no matter what time of day it is. If he's not around, he's there.
The surrounding support staff of coaches in Alabama are just as good, if not better, than other head coaches for other programs. This is the cream of the crop of coaches.
But obviously, Nick Saban is my my pride and joy. So I really just,
I hope he'll be okay.
Get better. Let's hope it's an easy ride for him to get over this.
Something that broke yesterday in the New York Jets house. Le'Veon Bell
broke during the game last night too. Some Tuesday night football action.
Yes, we had Tuesday night football last night. Le'Veon Bell was released from the team. I don't know what's to be of Le'Veon Bell in the rest of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, we always talk about running backs in the league, as silly as it sounds, when you're 30 plus years old, you're considered a really old running back. You can't play as long
Someone will take him though, because I thought
someone will
one
take
of the
him,
most interesting takes that I heard this week was on Get Up. It was, I believe it was Monday morning. And they were talking about the state of the running back and how big guys right now with big contracts, a guy like Christian McCaffrey is sidelined for the entire season, but they have a up and coming star on the Panthers who's breaking out and doing well. So they were talking about, are these players going to continue to get the big dollar, the big contracts in the futures? And the reality is no, is because you are replaceable.
Right.
So a guy like Le'Veon Bell now that's been released, if you're having running back issues or if you're coming up near a contract with someone or injuries are happening, so easy to come in and swipe that person for a 1 year to figure it out. So I thought that was a interesting take that I heard this week. And I think it directly ties into the news last night, because you're right. He is getting up there. He had an amazing time in Pittsburgh. And it was kind of like that, it ended and you're kind of, running around with your chicken with a head cut off. What do I do now?
Who ever thought Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, leaving the Steelers, that was the height of their careers.
You had your 3 Bs.
You know what I mean? And now it's just, they had locker room issues and they thought they would be better off leaving. And now you don't have one in the league and you have another one who's, being released by their current team. So
someone's going to get him though.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you have him in fantasy, which he did go in I would say in the mid rounds, middle of the draft,
I would just get rid of him.
There's been other guys, like you said, who have stepped up, proven themselves. And Anyways, another running back news, Melvin Gordon, Denver Broncos running back. This just happened last night.
Just literally
Tuesday
furthering
night. Yeah.
the case, just furthering
Got a DUI.
Yeah.
But listen, that team has Philip Lindsay. Like you can roll with him. You're good. You don't have to replace him or anything like that. I don't know. I haven't read what the penalties will be, how that affects him and his playing time. Don't know. But if you are famous, if you're anybody, I just want to clarify that if you're anybody, but if you are famous, why is there ever a need for you to drink and drive? You make millions of dollars. First off, even if you don't make millions of dollars, for everybody out there, there's Uber and Lyft. It's cheap enough, right? Or if you just don't drink and drive. It's just such a thing that doesn't need to be.
I've always said, and like this is like one of the reasons like why I think the housewives, they spend their money well because they
always have drivers.
Oh, they had like Bethany Frankel has had a driver for her entire life. If I ever become rich, the things that I want in life are a live-in chef, a masseuse, and a driver.
And a glam. You forgot the glam squad.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's like if I become like semi-rich and famous. But like if I become like loaded, like hit the lottery, like big, mega million, bazillion doll hairs, like you bet your ass I'm only driving when it's like a leisure activity for me. Anywhere else? Hell no. I'm getting a nice big old Suburban that's driving my ass around everywhere.
There's never an excuse for anybody to drink and drive.
And these NFL players spend boatloads on their Lamborghinis and all that stuff. You can't pay a guy like a couple $100 an hour to drive your ass around.
A lot of guys would love to drive that car for you for free.
Seriously.
Right? And then our last thing, this just broke too, right? I saw it on ESPN right before we started the show. No Pro Bowl is going to be played this year. I did not read further into it. My guess would be that they're anticipating the fact that they might have to extend the regular season if games are going to get canceled, postponed, et cetera, et cetera.
And they're turning teams into their bye weeks and things like that.
There's kind of no need for it. Like, okay, all these guys right now are risking COVID by playing and gathering for these games. Like, and that's one thing. But Pro Bowl is not a necessity. It's not something that has to happen. So if someone were to get COVID, like playing in the Pro Bowl, it just seems really
It's like when guys get like injured in the Pro Bowl. It's
right.
Really,
exactly.
like,
so there's just no need for it. And I think that's a good call on the NFL's part.
I think they're still going to have to like announce though, like who made the Pro Bowl.
Oh yeah. By the way, that was the one thing that I said. Apparently you're still able to vote and people will still get those nods and those votes and those recognitions. It is important because if you're a guy and say, oh, I made the Pro Bowl this many times in my career, that's important to them. And so I'm glad that they're
looking at the Hall of Fame.
I'm glad that they're doing that because you should still get the nod and the recognition.
100% agree.
All right. That was a lot. A lot of things happened, literally.
Part one of our week.
A lot of things happened in the last 24 hours. But we're going to get into our week 5 thoughts. Always a lot to discuss in the past games of the week. Whew, obviously, this was a huge one. Dak Prescott. Everybody knows about this by now. If you don't, you're living under a rock. Suffered a compound fracture and dislocation of his right ankle. It was a really gory scene during the game on Sunday night against the New York Giants. Brutal. He did go into surgery that night. He is expected to miss 4 to 6 months. So 4 on the short end, that ends you in February. That's your season's over. Yeah. It was absolutely, I felt devastated as a Giants fan. That goes to show you how we feel and how I can't imagine how Cowboys fans feel, how Dak feels. And one of my favorite things that I read, because you're reading all the tweets and you're seeing all the love on social media from the other players and everything like that. Yeah. And you saw Dak Prescott being carted off of the field and you see him in tears. And one of my favorite things I read on social media is somebody tweeted like, nobody cries like that over something that they don't care about. Like, and he cares. He cares to play the game of football because here's a guy who for the last 2 seasons deserved to be paid, still hasn't paid, and is going out there and risking, this injury, which happened, which makes you feel even more sick about it because he does deserve to be paid. Dallas has confirmed that they're committed to him and that, I would like to hope that this will not affect future dollars because he's a leader and he cares. And I love and I like that about him. I genuinely do.
Yeah. That was a lot of stuff that came out too. Like, people saying like, if you want to, criticize his play, that's, on you. If
And
you want
he's
to
been
do that.
playing great, though.
And he has been, but a lot of people too are coming, but you can't deny the fact that he's not a leader for that team, because he truly is.
Yeah.
And it was just I know we were texting each other when it happened, as soon as he went down, that was kind of like one of those, oh shit moments. Not a lot of players, go down where us as Giants fans are super concerned. It's like, this is, a natural injury. This happens.
Sometimes even in a rivalry game like that, you're like, ooh, like, sorry you got hurt, but like maybe we can win now.
Yeah.
No, I just felt bad about it.
It was truly devastating when they filmed over to him and he was crying. Like, Katie and I even texted each other and was like, we were so emotional. Like, I was about to cry. Like, I was like, holy shit. Like, I had never felt that much I felt
never thought I could feel that way about a Cowboy.
I never. It came out of nowhere. But again, it's at the end of the day, like, this is sports. This is football.
Yeah.
Like, we love the game of football.
Yeah.
And to see that, it just truly devastating, to where it was a natural occurring injury to something that he obviously, loves the sport. And like you said, the take you heard, like, you don't see that in someone's face that doesn't care. Or it's just, doing it to do it because I'm talented at the game. Like, you're truly passionate about it. It was just hard. And it's hard to see the replay like over and over again. I know they blur it out, and I know, Fox did a good job with kind of like, it was pretty gruesome. It was, even if we didn't see like the full gory details of, actually his bone was sticking out. Apparently we didn't see that, but his
sock was kind of like covering the situation, but you could just, obviously, it's turning one way and something's turning the other way. And it was emotional. It was upsetting.
I do want to defend Tony Romo, though, because a lot of people went after him.
Because he said, is it a cramp?
And in reality, what we saw immediately as we were watching on Fox, he was commentating for Fox.
It's a quick take. It's a live take.
He was holding his leg like it looked like a cramp. That's how he was holding himself.
And potentially when you're holding it, covering the injury.
And all we saw was his back, things like that. So I know a lot of people went after him on that. And it's just like, come on.
They're commentating live. It's happening in real time.
Yeah, and everyone that saw the video, you saw it in not real time. So as viewers, we were watching the game clearly because we're Giants fans. We saw it in real time, and that's what everyone saw. So I did want to defend him there because I thought that was such a complete BS, people going after him for that.
But anyways, a lot of respect for Dak, a lot of prayers for him. And hopefully he comes back and he gets paid the money he deserves. And, sad to see that happen.
And let's see a killer 2021 season, just not against the New York Giants.
Yeah, just go 0-2 against the Giants. Don't win the division, and we're okay with that.
We're fine. Just kill it in every other aspect.
This is a very interesting situation. San Fran.
Yeah.
What is going on with them?
Did I
always have
call it last week?
I think if we looked year after year after year after year, every single time you have your Super Bowl matchup, one of those teams slips.
It's called the Super Bowl hangover, isn't it?
A lot of times they haven't even made the playoffs the next year. San Fran is looking to go on that route right now. They decided to bench quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, finally back, finally healthy. He in favor of CJ Beathard. Let's not forget that while Jimmy G was hurt, they went with Nick Mullins. He was QB2. Didn't like what Nick Mullins was doing. Brought in CJ Beathard. And they lost 43-17 to Miami. Now is Miami like somewhat kind of good?
Sure, but you shouldn't be beating the San Francisco 49ers by that.
And so Jimmy G went 7 of 17 for 77 yards and 2 picks before he was benched. You remember how recently we talked about Adam Shine had his like little questions, his article, and it was who's got the worst quarterback situation in the league right now.
I went with the Niners.
This now proves that it really might be the Niners.
And, I did mention that because I thought it was a sticky situation. And I had, made note of it last week that I didn't know if Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be starting this week. And he ended up starting. And this is what happened.
And
I'm going to continue with that argument that in this current time, they have the stickiest situation.
And I don't want to say that his performance was due to injury and that he came back too soon. He was out for 2 weeks. I feel as though for a San Francisco team that is so talented, I do feel like, and I said recently how all the top teams in the league right now, The difference between them and San Fran is all of them have their franchise phenomenal quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. And then you have a top team like San Fran and your guy's Jimmy G, and he's not bad, but he's just completely middle tier average.
But a team like that too, you can't be juggling 3 different quarterbacks right now.
No.
Teams, we, bash teams that juggle between 2.
Yeah.
They're juggling 3.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Well, here, let's talk about this next one, because this is another exact same situation of juggling 3 quarterbacks. We did tell you guys about the benching of Dwayne Haskins in Washington. They decided to go with Kyle Allen. I thought that was an okay move, because
I thought it was a
we
great
liked
move.
what Kyle Allen did last year with Carolina.
Ron Rivera liked it too.
He ended up exiting the game early with an arm injury. That sucks when people get their opportunity and it's like he had it for 5 seconds. Then you've got Alex Smith coming in.
Talk about chills. Chills on chills. My chills had chills.
And his wife was there.
Oh, with the
his
kids,
children were there. I wanted to vomit for them. I was like, I can't watch this. I can't watch this. I can't watch this. He was sacked, I believe, 6 or 7 times in that game. He was going against Aaron Donald. I was literally going, Aaron, just be nice.
Did you
just
see
like
what
tap
Aaron
him.
Donald
just
said
tap
on
him.
the sideline? He
What
was
did he
like,
say?
that guy's got a leg of steel.
Yeah. But honestly, I was literally watching it going,
has like metal plates in
like,
his leg right now.
like Aaron Donald, if you get
I
there,
know.
can you just do
Just
like a
like
2-hand
tap,
touch?
yeah.
Like, don't put him down. So nervous for him. He didn't really do much besides get sacked a lot.
Congrats for getting back in. Like, no one
He
would
took
have
hits.
Yeah.
He took 6 sacks.
It's all about that first hit.
Yes.
You got to take that first hit. And then it's like it's like riding the bike.
I couldn't breathe though while I was watching it. But anyways, speaking of Kyle Allen though, and getting his opportunity and feeling bummed about it, he is expected to remain the starter if he is healthy. So he could very well be playing this weekend. Pittsburgh Steelers breakout game for rookie wide receiver Chase Claypool.
People were going
7 catches,
over this
110 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
This is, and we've said it a million times, the deepest wide receiver class for this draft.
Oh, absolutely.
This kid was drafted in the 2nd round. A lot of receivers went before him doing big things. We are really going to have like a hard pick of who the offensive rookie of the year is going to be, because so many kids are just as advertised, or if not better than what we expected.
This brings up for me though, and like what I think about, we've always spoken about Juju and how has he ever really stepped into that, wide receiver 1 role? He really hasn't. So then you have a kid like this break out. You got listen, Juju, you were the kid that broke out, and then you never claimed your throne.
But you can make the argument, because this is the argument I always make, when you're a wide receiver number 1, for example, Antonio Brown, when Juju came in, you're going to get double teamed, or if you're not double teamed, you're going up against the best cornerback on the opposite team, right? That's hard. So what does that do? That opened up Juju.
Right.
So Juju is wide receiver number 1. That opens up Chase Claypool. But it doesn't negate the fact that we have felt Juju has not stepped up as wide receiver number 1.
In that one position, it's like, I don't know.
Oakland Raiders, they are one of the sketchiest teams of 2020. Are they good? Are they just
I picked them to be like the worst team in the NFL this year, and I don't even know where I am.
I don't know what to make of this team, but they upset the Kansas City Chiefs 40-32.
And it wasn't just like a
points.
fluke, like of an upset. Like they played very well, and I've been impressed with
Derek Carr's been
doing
pretty
well.
good. Yeah.
Literally
Josh
forgot
Jacobs.
he still played football.
Josh Jacobs is phenomenal.
I have him on fantasy.
That's a top 5
Alabama boy. Great.
Top 5 running back
100%.
right now, I would say.
Top 5. He
had
a little bit of a slow start. He didn't really kickstart it until the second half, but I'll take it.
Yeah. He's impressed me. Pittsburgh Steelers 4-0 for the first time since 1979. Does that kind of surprise you?
Because didn't they win 2 Super Bowls in like a very short
when Big Ben first started his career?
Was it like 2005,
2003, somewhere
maybe?
around. Yeah,
they were very close Super Bowl. So I was a little shocked.
I was shocked
because they were like good.
In the 70s, they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then,
but that 2000, those 2 Super Bowls they had close, like
that's a team that's really never had a stretch of being bad. So yes, that definitely shocked me.
Yeah.
But 4-0 for the first time since 79. Seattle Seahawks 5-0 for the first time in franchise history.
Which is also a little terribly
when
shocking,
I was asked
but-
the question about fantasy football, which defense do I pick up? I was looking at stats, and it was either in points allowed per game or yards allowed per game. And the Seattle defense is ranked dead last.
They're really not that good.
That's crazy
Yeah.
that they're 5-0. It goes to show you that Russell Wilson he is the man. MVP. I don't know how anybody's going to top that. I don't care what happens the second half of the season. This guy's got it on lock.
Yeah.
And then Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert. We just wanted to give him another recognition. We talked about him at the beginning of the show.
Killing it.
Overtime loss to New Orleans. Definitely a heartbreaker. They kicked a field goal to win it, and it doinked off.
The doinks.
The
doinks will get you.
The doinks will get you. But the kid threw 4 touchdowns, and he's really been super impressive. And I love watching him play. I really do. So we wanted to give a nod to him there.
Yeah.
But those are our week 5 thoughts. Wow, that was a lot.
A lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
Seriously. I feel like I've been talking for like 30 minutes straight. Oh, we have been. It's been 35
I'm parched. I need
minutes.
wine.
I know. Me too. Real quick. So good. All right. So let's get into our week 6 picks. I cannot believe we're already in week 6.
I know.
But we're going to give you our picks for the week, and we're going to give you our lock and our upset as well. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
All right, let's do it. I am taking the New England Patriots, Tennessee Titans, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, the Washington football team. I'm sorry. I told you I was not going to pick the Giants until they show me something. Minnesota Vikings. It was a little something. But when I say show me something, get that first W, and then maybe I'll consider you. The Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, Cincinnati Bengals, Chicago Bears, Miami Dolphins, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Los Angeles Rams, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Arizona Cardinals. My lock is the Baltimore Ravens over the Philadelphia Eagles. And my upset, I feel like this was a good upset. Felt like the only option, but felt very confident in it. I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals over the Indianapolis Colts, who's kind of got a struggling Phillip Rivers right now.
Yeah, so I think that's good. We do have the same lock. So and we had pretty similar picks. So I'm going with the Patriots, the Titans, Steelers, Ravens, Giants, Vikings, Jaguars, Colts, Panthers, Dolphins, Buccaneers, Rams, Chiefs, and Cardinals.
Only 4 different.
My lock is the Ravens over the Eagles, and my upset is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Green Bay Packers.
Wow, this was, and I'm glad you mentioned this one specifically, because when I was making my picks, that was the last one. Not like in order wise. Like I made all my picks, and then I was like, what do I pick for this game? I was at work. I was asking people at work, what do you think about this game? And everybody was kind of giving a slight itty bitty edge to Tampa Bay. I mean, I picked Tampa Bay to win. Green Bay has to lose at some point, right? They're undefeated right now. Aaron Rodgers is playing great, and this team's playing great. They're one of the strongest teams in the league right now. But I do believe that they need to lose at some point. And we have a pissed off Tom Brady from last week. Really pissed off. A pissed off Tom Brady scares me. I agree with you. I'm going Tampa Bay. So technically, I'm in on that upset too, because I picked them as well.
Yep.
All right, let's get into our big stories of the week in the world of Housewives. This first story we're really excited about because we constantly across all franchises get a lot of rumored cast members, right? We talk about it every week. Oh, rumored to be. This is a decision has been made. This is a full-time cast member. Andy has confirmed it. He usually shuts down the rumors. He is confirming this one. I'm very excited about it. RHONY is announcing their first ever Black cast member. Andy was like, to say this was a long time coming is the understatement of the century. This past week,
we're in New York, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't think it was ever a thing that was obviously done purposely.
No, I know. But it's like
you have
New York City is so diverse.
Yes.
Like
we have so many OGs for New York.
Yeah.
We really don't get a ton of cast shakeups. But when we did get the departure of Dorinda, it was definitely a thing that was talked about, that they wanted to have more diversity. So this past week, it was confirmed that Ebony K. Williams would be joining RHONY for season 13, making her the first ever Black cast member for the franchise. Ebony is super excited. Love her enthusiasm about joining. She said this franchise historically has not had a Black lens, and now it will for the first time in 13 years. 13 years it's been on. I'm thrilled, I'm honored. It is my great hope that my presence on this show will just do it justice, do Black women justice, do our culture justice. I can only hope to touch on the magic that are Black women. I'm very excited to see her.
Yeah.
She is, I believe, like 37 years old.
She looks very young, yeah.
And Caitlin and I talked about this when the news broke, that this kind of is something we talked about on the show, is RHONY trying to go in a younger direction. They obviously brought in Leah, and we said, as much as we don't think there's a need to get rid of Ramona and Sonia or anybody, you know, Ramona's 62, I want to say. Eventually, it's going to be weird to see a 70-year-old woman on RHONY.
Exactly.
So they do need to move in a younger direction. I support that. Ebony is all over the place in the world of media. She does everything, and she's super, super smart. I was super impressed reading about her.
She's got a great resume.
She hosted a lot of TV shows in the past. She co-hosted Fox News Specialist before leaving Fox News at the end of 2018. She also co-hosted a talk show on WABC Radio and currently co-hosts State of the Culture on Diddy's Revolt TV. It went on and on and on and on and on about other things media-wise that she's been on, but that's kind of currently or things that have happened currently. She's also an attorney.
Yeah. Just add it to the list.
I mean, I just want to ask,
a lot of these women are attorneys.
I would just like to ask, though, because she's like so in the media and clearly that's her thing that she does. Who puts themselves through law school and the hell of it just and the money that it costs to do it to go into the media? I don't know. I don't know if she's practicing in any whatever, but she is an attorney. She earned her law degree at Loyola University, New Orleans College of Law. After, this was my most impressive part that I read about her. After enrolling as an undergrad at UNC, which is like a top 20 school academically, at age 16. So she was smart enough to just skip high school basically and go straight to UNC. And well,
that's where she's had the time to do all of this.
I am uber impressed by that. This girl is a smart cookie, and
she's smart,
and she seems really strong. And this is what you need for the RHONY to be a RHONY lady. These RHONY women are super smart, super successful. They don't depend on men. I mean, well, some of them, but like mainly they go off and do their own successful ventures
by themselves. I love it.
She also wrote a memoir as well entitled Pretty Powerful: Appearance, Substance, and Success. She wrote that in 2017. Andy Cohen was one of the first ones to welcome her to the franchise on Twitter and sang her praises when asked what to expect from her. He said, she's got a lot going on personally. She's incredibly smart. She seems, from what I can tell, to be absolutely no shrinking violet whatsoever.
Nice.
Which is exactly what we would need for someone stepping into that group of very dominating women. Yeah. You have to be a Leah entering this group. You cannot by any means like be sensitive, be shy, not have a voice. You need to speak up for yourself, because these women can be very difficult. So I'm super excited for Ebony.
I'm so excited. And that long list of media things, you know, one of the things that, you know, we didn't go into too much detail about. She has a sports background, a sports media background. She's done things with Fox Sports, I believe it was. So there you go. We're tying it in. Football and Housewives. There it is. There's the tie-in again.
I'm already like very, very excited to
She seems great too. You know, I follow really her pretty. On all. Oh my gosh, she's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Follow her on all her accounts now. You know, it looks like her and Leah got together, posting some pics together. So it just seems like, listen, like
I wonder if Leah took her to the Russian bathhouse yet.
If
that's how you break them in, baby.
That's how you just gotta lean them in like that. If anyone has like more information about that place, though, like Katie and I really want to go.
I feel like in the height of COVID, the Russian bathhouse is not a place.
They probably took a hit. I think that I would, you know, take a chance and go. Maybe
I'm down.
We gotta go. It looks like, I don't understand why those women were complaining. Ourselves. It looked so great.
I love it.
So great.
When BravoCon comes back, we'll make it a weekend and we'll hit up the Russian bathhouse.
We gotta just do that. Like, that could be like our hangover cure. So like Friday BravoCon. Is it on Friday too, or is it just Saturday?
No,
Sunday?
It's all weekend. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So we go Friday, get super drunk with all the cast members.
Yeah, we
wake up Saturday, little hungovers, and then we go to the Russian bathhouse, and they just whack the hangover out of us. And then we go back to BravoCon.
Sunday with mimosas in the morning.
And then back to BravoCon.
I love it. It's a whole game plan.
When is Andy, get back to us? When is it happening?
Yes.
I need to go back. Mama needs to go. All right. So again, still with Housewives. So we have a couple of relationship updates here. So coronavirus ain't stopping no nuptials, especially in the land of Housewives. So on Saturday, we had a 2-for-1 special here. We had
October 10th, 10/10/20.
That is, actually, I saw a lot of people getting engaged on that date, married. It's a
nice date. 10/10/20. You can't really forget that one.
Like 10/10/10.
For those hubbies out there that tend to forget. 10/10/20. Make it easy for you.
Making it easy for the men out there. So, Real Houses of Orange County, controversial star, to say the least. Kelly Dodd married Rick Leventhal at a private residence at an estate in Sonoma, California, in an intimate ceremony with a small group of people.
Yeah.
Both wore black while guests wore white. It's the third marriage for the both of them.
Third time's a charm, baby.
At least they have that in common. I got a comment, though. Her daughter looked so old in the pictures. We obviously were introduced to her on Orange County. She was younger.
What is she now? Like 8? She's 18, I think.
Oh, she is. Okay, so
yeah.
So we've seen her for quite some time, but I just remember her being so young the first time we saw her. And then, over the past couple of seasons, a lot of, serious issues have been brought up with Kelly and things like that. So she's been more open with her daughter. So we knew she was getting a little bit older, more mature. But the pictures from the wedding, I was like, where did this young lady come from? Like, wow.
And put COVID aside here. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that they did like an intimate small, like we saw a picture of everybody that was there. It was maybe like 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
But throw COVID aside, if you and your husband are getting married for the third time,
you gotta keep it.
It should be intimate and small anyways. Don't throw yourself a big lavish wedding, which we'll get into next. But they both wore all black. People joked on social media, dressed for a funeral. Yeah. What was your opinion on the outfits? Because I have opinions on both of these brides that we're about to talk about in the outfits.
Well, so my opinion is very similar to your opinion on ceremony size. When you're getting married for the third time, I don't think it really matters what the hell you wear.
Yeah, you don't need to wear the white dress.
No, you don't have to.
Or if you do wear white, don't make it like a ball gown or whatever.
I think you just, you
sleek, casual.
Listen, maybe if it was his first time getting married, like you want to or maybe if you're marrying a guy who's been married before and like it's your first wedding, things like that. Right. But listen, the two of them have been around the block. You got to keep it simple. Black, I don't really care. I've actually seen a lot of brides pull off black and look stunning in their first wedding.
I think she was fine, but him in a black shirt and black pants and her in a black dress, it just felt
black, a funeral.
For lack of better words, black. Like it was just very black. Like I totally feel like, yes, if it's both your third marriages, like you don't need to get all fancy what you would wear at your first wedding. But I didn't really love the all black.
Yeah, I get it.
I like a more casual look, but that just felt weird. And I thought like if she just wore black, like standing alone, I think she would have looked pretty. But next to him, I felt like he didn't look really good. Yeah. And I didn't really like it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So moving into our second Saturday, 10/10/20 wedding. Yes. Real Housewives of Atlanta, Cynthia Bailey married Mike Hill in front of 250 guests. So let's bring it back though.
Are the Georgia numbers good COVID-wise?
They are completely open. They have been for quite some time. I can't recite to you. I'm not Dr. Fauci. I do not know what the exact numbers are, but Georgia has been open as a state for a very long time. They're not, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, we're still technically in like a light lockdown. Like we still technically are. There's a lot of restrictions in place. They are lifted on like everything. So this was legal. So that's it's so funny now. I look at that number. I assume it would be panics me.
I would assume it would be legal. She knows she's in the public eye, and if she was breaking a law,
But I see that it's so funny. Like these past 6 months, I see the number 250 now. I'm like, holy shit! Were they outside? Was it in a venue? Were they wearing masks? Did they socially distance? It's like I panic. I freak out for something that I did not even attend. So 250 guests at the Governor's Town Club in Ackworth, Georgia. So her wedding focus and attention details were, they did all the protocols regarding COVID-19. So this is her second marriage for her. And then for Mike, it is his third.
So that just goes against the thing of being like, you needed 250 guests and they went all out on their outfits.
Okay, so she was in this like studded, like
almost like a rose gold shine to it.
It was very
it was a ball gown.
It was a ball gown.
And he was in, I thought his was, I don't know how you say whose is worse, because I thought they were both terrible. But I think I'm going to give him the cake because he wore a completely sparkly silver glittery jacket. It was awful. It was so bad. I hated both outfits. They both looked ridiculous, especially for a second and third wedding. It was way too over the top.
It's like someone just like took a can of glitter and was just like, come here, you just boom, and like threw it at the two. It's
kind of like a cheesy look. I don't know.
I didn't really like it to be. I definitely didn't. I don't know.
You know, like when guys are in high school and they kind of like laugh off prom and they wear like crazy colors and do crazy things, like that silver, like glittery jacket that like reminds me of that. Like, be serious. How old are you? Like, you just kind of look silly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wasn't a fan of any of the bridal attire. This past weekend on 10/10/20.
And then unfortunately,
I hate this one. I don't want to say it.
I know. I feel like I don't know. I don't want it to be true. I'm still like waiting for someone to come. Has Bethany confirmed it? So we're talking about Bethany Frankel.
Go ahead. I'll say what I saw.
So on Monday, the news broke that Real Housewives of New York, Bethany Frankel, and her boyfriend Paul Vernon split after nearly 2 years.
So unbelievably unexpected. They like love each other. She always like sings his praises on Instagram and everything. Like,
oh my goodness,
they seem so in love.
So they had previously spent time together going between. So the biggest thing that he was from Boston. So they were going back to New York and Boston, everything like that. They were quarantining apart in March, and she's still technically married to her ex-husband.
Right,
we found that out.
It's almost like interesting that recently broke.
I hope that's
right. I hope that's not it either. Hope it's not. But how awkward do we feel now that literally 1 week ago she was with Andy and Andy asked her like live, like, are you and Paul considering marriage? Because that's how everybody felt that this couple was so strong. I know you
watched it. How was her like facial expression?
Oh, I didn't actually watch it. I read about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like Andy asking that question is how everybody felt like this couple was headed towards marriage. Or even if they never got married, it was going to be a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Because they seemed so happy. And then that was when Bethany revealed that I'm actually technically still married to Jason, which is insane. And then here we are 1 week later on this show.
Yeah.
And announcing this. So I hope it didn't have to do
I really hope it
with that.
No, I hope not.
I mean, some guys might be like, is this never going to end? Are you going to be married to him for like another 5-10 years?
But
like,
I also hope too, for the sake of, Paul, that wasn't
it's not Bethany's fault.
No, but I hope for the sake of Paul, that wasn't the first time he heard about it.
Oh yeah. Because
that's a deal breaker to me.
I would assume
if I were a guy and I just found that out, that's a deal breaker.
Which is kind of interesting that you bring that up, because when we talked about the fact that broke, that she was still technically married to Jason, the article I read said that in 2016 or 2017, we were led to believe that divorce was finalized. Yes. So Bethany said, maybe you're onto something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the world thought it was over. I certainly thought it was over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really hope that this couple, maybe like you said, it's a false alarm. I don't know. But you asking that, I did like within the news breaking, like I went on Bethany's story on Instagram and she posted a ton
she
that
was like
day.
Cooking that
and
day.
She was just hanging out with Bryn, cooking, making jokes. And I was just like, she doesn't seem very sad. Like I looked at her story to see like, is she heartbroken? Like, she looked fine. So I don't know. I hope, I want more details because
he was always with Bryn too. She finally revealed Bryn's face on social media.
She's been doing that a lot lately.
Maybe that, their relationship, she finally felt comfortable and like, I don't know. It really,
we were really sad to see
I was not expecting it. I
felt like Bethany was getting her like, this is funny because she had that TV show with Jason, like Bethany Ever After, whatever.
Yeah.
I felt like she was getting her
happy.
happy ever after.
I just feel like it's like, it's like a foursome. I feel like we're a part of this breakup.
We're invested
like,
in Bethany,
and I
I'm
just
wanting
like
her to be happy.
I'm going through this emotional.
And this doesn't
roller coaster
necessarily
now.
mean that she's not going to be happy, but we just felt like
Yeah.
they were forever.
Yeah.
So and
very,
Andy too, to ask that question.
very
upsetting.
upset.
All right, let's get into a game. Lift my spirits.
Lift it up.
We are playing a game tonight called Would You Rather, NFL Drafts of the Past Edition. Love a good game of Would You Rather, especially while we're drinking wine skis. But we are talking about past NFL drafts, and we are deciding that if we had a redo, if we could do things all over again, which player would we rather have?
Yeah.
So we looked at the past 5 NFL drafts. We have 2 scenarios for each one for each year. Certainly very interesting. We went
was so interesting.
We went as far back as 2015. And when you read the names in the 2015 draft, you're like, that guy feels like he's been in the league for 10 years. And to think that it's only 5 years ago is pretty crazy.
And to see like when they got picked too. Like,
that's always very interesting. Interesting factor. And we will tell you when they got picked and by who.
So you'll see a trend with my picks. Like I assume that many of you listening would have similar one. It's wild to see you'll see.
So we didn't do the 2020 draft because obviously we only have a couple of games to go off of. But we have the 2019 draft. This first one, I really like these young players. These are 2 tight ends. I think they have a lot of promise, and I think they're showing that, especially this season, both of them. Would you rather have tight end TJ Hawkinson, who was drafted 8 overall in the first round by the Detroit Lions, or tight end Noah Fant, who was also drafted in the first round, but picked number 20 by the Denver Broncos?
Yeah. So you can't even say like, oh, like I think now at the end of it, like Noah Fant was a steal because he still went in the first round at number 20. And
usually in tight end wise, you might have 1 or 2 go in the first round. It's not like a huge first round thing.
So definitely fair for the 2 of them to actually go in the first round. I'm very pleased with them, but I'm going to give the slighter edge to Noah Fant. I've been following him a lot only because I do have him on my fantasy team, but we did talk about him a lot, in the preseason.
Absolutely.
We did. Not their preseason.
Like a little bit of a dark horse, like a little bit of everybody pay attention to Noah Fant. Because the way we were saying pay attention to Drew Lock, these guys are going to come on this season.
Listen, I've been very pleased. Unfortunately, he's dealing with a little bit of an injury right now, but he will be back in action soon. But I just honestly, it's like I've been, have been following him week after week. So
TJ Hawkinson also has the body of a wide receiver.
Right.
He's a little skinnier. Noah Fant is like a bigger boy. Like he's more of a tight end.
Maybe since we've been dealing with Evan Ingram for so long, I want that big boy on my team.
I went with Noah Fant as well. I'm giving him the slight edge. Again, I'm really impressed by what both of these guys have been doing this season. I felt really strong about TJ Hawkinson last year.
Right.
And he didn't do as much as I thought he would. And now I finally feel like he is Matthew Stafford's safety blanket. And I really like him, but I am going to give the edge to Noah Fant. Number 2, I like this one because this is a division
and I also was like, how the hell have these guys only been in
this is a division rivalry. Who ended up getting the better guy? We have wide receiver Deebo Samuel, drafted in the 2nd round, number 36 overall by the San Francisco 49ers. Or wide receiver who didn't expect him. I remember not expecting him to fall this far. DK Metcalf. He was drafted round 2, number 64. So Deebo went 36 in the second. DK went 64 in the second by the Seattle Seahawks. Who would you take?
Fell far. No one should have ever let him go that far. DK Metcalf is just, I don't even know what to describe him as.
64, by the way, in the 2nd round is like the last or second to last pick in the 2nd round. He was almost a 3rd round pick.
So again, he fell far. No team should have let him fall that far. And now a lot of people are probably kicking themselves in the ass. Say, listen, Deebo Samuel, nothing against him. He has been dealing with an injury this year, and I'm looking, for long term right now. Obviously, they've got a lot of issues with the QB scenario there. We got listen, it just looks good right now for DK and this the Seahawks. And I just, maybe just don't drop the ball when you go into the end zone for a touchdown anymore and we'll be good. 100% going with him though. I just think it's wild too. These guys are only in their second season. I thought DK had been around for like
no. I remember
acts like it. Acts like it.
But I remember the hype around DK and everybody thinking that he was going to be a first round pick. And then draft day came and he was one of those guys that kept sliding down the draft board. And people were like, why? A lot of people weren't thrilled with his route running.
Right.
He's proven that I don't know if his route running still needs some work, but he's getting the yards, he's getting the touchdowns, whatever he's doing is still working.
Right.
I'm going with Deebo Samuel. I like the player he is more than I like DK. I think DK is good it has a lot to do with his size. Right. He's the biggest wide receiver I feel like I've ever seen muscle wise.
Yeah.
I love the receiver that Deebo Samuel is because he's one of the best guys that's in college. When he was in college, he was the top guy who got yards after the catch.
Yeah, that's important.
And to me, I think that's the most dangerous wide receiver you can have in the NFL because that reminds me.
He's not just making a play, he's making like a double play.
That reminds me of Odell with the Giants where you can dump it to him 5 yards and he could take it to the house. That's the kind of player Deebo Samuel is. Deebo Samuel is, and that's why I'm going with him. All right, the 2018 draft, we are looking at the defensive side of the ball. Linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, obviously he's injured right now, but round 1, number 19 overall by the Dallas Cowboys, or linebacker Darius Leonard, round 2, number 36 overall by the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm going with a linebacker Darius Leonard on this one.
I'm going with him too. I have said this before on our show that I believe Darius Leonard is a Swiss Army knife. He does it all, which is all you can ask for linebacker. You know,
you are the quarterback that can do it all.
He does it all. I'm very impressed by both of these guys. And I feel like Leighton Vander Esch is the new linebacker for the Cowboys, who's going to be with them for a very long time. But Darius Leonard really impressed me.
Freaking needs it. So.
And going round 2, number 36 overall, he's proven that he's well more worth that. All right, number 2. This is the Battle of the DJs. We have.
I literally thought that too when I was looking at it. I was like, the Battle of the DJs.
We got wide receiver DJ Moore, drafted round 1, number 24 overall by the Carolina Panthers, or wide receiver DJ Chark, round 2, number 61 overall by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So, looking at the two of these guys, it came down to me that, let's look at the stats. Let's see what's going on over the past couple of seasons.
They're pretty close.
They are. But what it came down to for me was yards against touchdowns. Touchdowns, you're converting and you're getting the point. And at the end of the day, DJ Chark has more touchdowns than DJ Moore. So I'm going to give the upper hand to him.
Isn't it funny? Because we looked at it the same exact way.
And you went opposite.
My note is I went DJ Moore. I said, Chark finds the end zone more, but Moore gets more yards and receptions.
But to me, it's, you got to convert. You got to, and me looking at it from like a business perspective, you're going to do something. If you're going to run a marketing campaign, if you're going to make a sales call, if you're going to do something, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do. You got to get the dollar amount in there. So for football, you got to get the points on the board.
It shows we would be different GMs. Like we looked at the same way and went complete opposite directions. But I can make arguments for both. And stats wise, these guys are really close.
Absolutely. So. Oh, that was like literally.
2017 draft. These guys will be compared a lot, I think, in their careers.
Yeah.
Running back Dalvin Cook. He went, it's crazy to think that these guys went where they went.
Like every GM should slap themselves.
Two of the top running backs in the NFL right now. Running back Dalvin Cook, round 2, number 41 overall by the Minnesota Vikings, or running back Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round, number 67 overall by the New Orleans Saints.
Today, he would be
Makes
first
you sick.
round.
Makes you sick.
The number 1 overall.
Sometimes you just can't predict things.
You really can't, though. But I am going with Alvin Kamara. For me, it's nothing against Alvin. It really isn't. When I see the two of them next to each other, I sincerely think Alvin Kamara is.
You gotta love both of these guys because not only do they run really well, but they both are very active in the passing game.
Absolutely.
But Alvin Kamara, more so stat wise, just fills the stat sheet. I'm going with Alvin Kamara. Number 2, we've got 2 more running backs. This was a good year for the running backs, right? Running back Joe Mixon, round 2, number 48. He went a couple picks after Dalvin Cook, drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. Wild. And then you have running back James Conner, round 3, number 105 by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. Who do you got?
So this is nothing against Joe Mixon, because I do think he's a very talented running back.
I feel like he's a forgotten man.
He is. But I just on a Bengals team that's now getting a quarterback that he can work with and do things with and make plays with. Maybe they're going to build up a line a little bit better now because you have a guy like Joe Burrow. So maybe the time will come. For me right now, I've loved everything I've seen from James Conner. I don't disagree with him being a round 3 pick. I think that was a great pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I would again repick that and do that again over it.
I went with Joe Mixon, and I don't have notes, and I don't remember why. Something about it made me go that. Something about it made me go that route. Maybe I'm just giving him the slight edge. I think he's a slightly better player, but I think these guys are really comparable. And it's funny because you have these 4 in the 2017 draft, and I definitely believe Dalvin Cook and Kamara were the cream of the crop. But then you had 2 other solid guys here. This was a good year for running backs.
Yeah.
The 2016 draft, we had another tight end scenario, a good one. Tight end Hunter Henry, drafted round 2, number 35 overall by the Chargers, or tight end Austin Hooper, round 3, number 81 by the Atlanta Falcons. He now plays for the Cleveland Browns.
So that's what I took into consideration too, like looking at these, kind of where did people transition off to? And normally for me, like I kind of take that as a negative stance, like, being on multiple teams after a couple of years or whatnot, which it happens,
sometimes it is negative. Yeah.
But for me, this wasn't really a negative thing because I do think Austin Hooper has found a better home in Cleveland. I think he's doing a better job there. So I'm going to go again with tight end Austin Hooper.
I went with Austin Hooper as well.
And they're always up against you. This isn't the first time we've pinned them up next to each other in the game. Yeah. It is a constant conversation between the two of them.
Very close. And I think either team would be happy with these tight ends. They were drafted in the 2nd and 3rd round. They could be interchangeable, but I think, you draft these guys, and even though Austin Hooper is on another team now, I feel like those were good draft picks in the 2nd and 3rd round. These are good top tight ends in the league. Okay, number 2, this is the defensive side of the ball. Defensive end DeForest Buckner, round 1, number 7 overall by the San Francisco 49ers. He now plays for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
Or Jacksonville Jaguars, Yannick Ngakoue, round 3, number 69 by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has found a new home as well. Who were you going with?
So again, this came down to a stats and numbers game for me. So we do see, DeForest Buckner with 31 sacks in his career with 0 interceptions. Then going over to Yannick with 41.5 sacks plus 2 interceptions. So he just has a leg up there. He just has a little bit more going for him. And listen, you're a defensive end. I got to see more numbers.
You got to get sacks. You got as a defensive end. You got to put up the sacks, right?
And then not only too with the 2 interceptions from Yannick, he's got yards on those interceptions. He took it and went for it. So you got to see that too. You're not just getting that off. I don't know if they were pick 6s, but he did run a little bit with the ball. So definitely giving him the upper hand.
That's a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
You were drafted number 7 overall, DeForest Buckner, and then you were drafted in the 3rd round.
And the guy has 10 more sacks. Sorry, 10.
Well, I want to say, I don't feel like Sam Fran made a bad choice here, right? I feel like they're both good players, but I'm going with Yannick as well. He's been more consistent. Both guys have put up good numbers.
Yeah.
But Yannick has been more consistent in my mind. And to get him in the 3rd round, that's great.
And you're taking a defensive end and number 7 overall.
He's got to be like beast mode.
Beast mode.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, the 2015 draft. These guys feel like they've been in the league forever. I can't even believe this.
I almost wanted to
I don't want to remind you. I don't want to remind you, but this is the Eric Flowers draft. Where some of these good guys went before him, after him. These guys.
Call up Jerry Reese and curse him out.
These guys will always be compared to one another. They went 5 picks apart. We're talking about running back Todd Gurley, who was taken round 1, number 10 overall by the Los Angeles Rams, or running back Melvin Gordon, round 1, number 15 by the Los Angeles Chargers. Funny enough, when you look at the 2015 draft and how long ago it feels, Todd Gurley was actually drafted by the St. Louis Rams, and Melvin Gordon was drafted by the San Diego Chargers. So, but who are you going with?
All right. Well, despite all the drama loms with Melvin Gordon, I'm going with him because I think that Todd Gurley is in a, we spoke about him a lot last season.
A little bit of a
downfall, injury, questionable where he's going to be, where's his forever home? Like, why hasn't he found his forever home in 5 years? Things like that. So for me, I think in the current state with where we are, and like I said, put aside the recent drama loms, like we'll get past that. Like, I just think Melvin Gordon is just in a more secure spot, and maybe we'll have a couple, you'd hope we'd have a couple more years on, under his sleeve. But Todd Gurley for me, he used to be that exciting player that I was so happy to watch all the time and see from him. But why is it just 5 years later and we're questioning you?
See, that's interesting because I went with Todd Gurley, and I understand that it feels like he's going downhill. Yeah. But I look at the 5 years we've had with him, and if you're a franchise and you're drafting, you ask yourself, he was the top of the top. He was the best running back in the league. He was phenomenal. It's like I almost would rather have really like 4 solid years of having the top running back. And he's not even that bad now. No, he's just not Todd Gurley that we used to see. No. So I'm going Todd Gurley because he was on another level in the beginning. That's a fair point.
Okay,
and our last one, we have wide receiver Amari Cooper. He went 4th overall by the Oakland Raiders, not the Las Vegas Raiders, the Oakland Raiders. He is now with the Dallas Cowboys. Or wide receiver Stephon Diggs. He went round 5.
I know.
Round 5, number 146 overall by the Minnesota Vikings, now with the Buffalo Bills. Who are you going with?
So actually it really pains me to pick Stephon Diggs here. I love Amari Cooper. He was one of my Bama boys, and he was a shining star at Alabama, like beyond good at Alabama. Yeah. I think the Raiders wasted his time and did not do anything with him. Now he's with the Cowboys, not really doing much either. So it really pains me to say, I don't think at the end of the day, he was a round 1, number 4 pick in reality.
Yeah.
So I would pick Stephon Diggs over him.
So it depends how you're playing the game, because if you're playing the game, like you just said, I agree with you. I would have gone Stephon Diggs, because when you look at the value, if you're playing value-wise,
right,
Stephon Diggs, you can get him in the 5th round. That's the best pick of the draft.
But I would have picked him earlier if I knew how. Look at it.
And when you say Amari Cooper 4 overall, he's not that good. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But I just played the game differently.
We got a call in guess.
I just played the game differently, as in like, who have I liked what they've done better in their career so far. And they are very close for a guy who went 4 overall and a guy who went in the 5th round. But I feel like both guys have been very consistent. Amari Cooper just slightly more. I went with Amari Cooper. Okay. But if you are playing value-wise, Stephon Diggs 100%.
Yeah, no,
absolutely. Sure. Good game.
That was a good game. We love doing the blast from the past, and we love doing the draft blast from the past.
It's crazy to look back and remember.
And we've said it time and time again. When you have a minute on your lunch break, when you just want to take a break from work, you want to have a glass of wine after work, just Wikipedia the drafts.
A great thing to do is look on Wikipedia, and they highlight Pro Bowl players. Yeah. And if you go all the way to the end of the draft and see some of the guys, even they list notable undrafted guys. Yeah. And some of them have made the Pro Bowl, have been all pros. Yeah. It's very interesting. It's super interesting, it's honestly.
Like, we've done it for the show, like for our own research and things like that, but it actually turns out to be like looking at it. Like some of the research we do for the show
make you
like a little boring.
It'll make you sick sometimes.
It will literally make you want to kill yourself, like AKA the 2015 draft for the New York Giants.
But it's super interesting.
Very, very much so. All right, so let's get to that point of the night where we get it off our chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, wine, life, anything that you want to talk about. Yeah. Kick us off.
You know that movie Invincible with Mark Wahlberg, where
No.
they hold an open tryout in like
Yes.
the 80s for the Philadelphia Eagles,
yes.
and he makes the football team.
Yes.
I think that needs
I
to
said
be
no, but I lied to you.
I think that needs to be a thing in 2020 where they hold an open tryout for just regular freaking citizens of the United States.
They do that.
Well,
maybe not in the coronavirus state, but they totally do that.
They have open tryouts where they invite like college football players.
I thought
and stuff.
anyone could go.
No, I think you need to ask the average Joe and have an open tryout for the average Joe. I don't care if the last time you played football was PB football, for NFL kickers.
I think
they are horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that any Joe Schmo could go out there and do just as good, if not better. It's Justin Tucker and then everybody else. I say this constantly on the show.
I agree.
I want to specifically call out Jacksonville Jaguars kicker Stephen Hauschka, okay? Because they played a very close game against a winless Houston Texans team, right? He missed 2 field goals in the game. I think he missed an extra point. One of the other field goals was from like 20-something,
seeing a lot of
right?
Field goals.
This game was winnable,
100%.
Okay? And it was towards the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And I saw that Jacksonville was like 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3 or something like that at the 20. And instead of kicking a field goal from the 20, they went for it and they didn't get it because this was after Stephen Hauschka already had missed 2 because they didn't trust him to kick a field goal from the 20.
I remember I was watching the
from
game
the 20.
and you see him on the sideline like a little salty. And
that's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It is.
And then when your team doesn't pick it up on 4th down, then you look like the biggest a-hole of all time.
You straight up do, 100%.
So now
last night too.
So I didn't realize this until like I was like, I'm going to do this, forget it off my chest. That I Googled his name and found out that they did in fact cut him.
Yeah.
Right.
Rightfully
so. But he was like a good, solid. He was like a top 5 fantasy kicker for a long time.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. He fell off the map. But now
one of my fantasy kickers I picked got cut like the day after. So
I mean,
this is week 1.
I think kickers are like a week by week basis.
They
in
are.
Fantasy.
They
like,
literally are.
Unless you have Justin Tucker, who's your solid kicker for the entire season, just do it a week by week basis. So John Brown is now the kicker.
Roulette.
Exactly. John Brown is now the kicker for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is their 5th kicker of the season. We are only going into week 6.
So
this is despicable.
They're playing kicker roulette.
Aldrich Rosas was one of those in
the
mix for them.
To him? I thought he was doing okay for them. I told you don't sleep on Aldrich Rosas. He was coming to make a comeback.
Is pathetic.
They're playing roulette.
Your team in a close game
couldn't
like, and it wasn't even like. It wasn't even a 4th quarter, need a touchdown, don't need a field goal. This was, I think they were going to take the lead with a field goal and they decided to not kick it.
That's when you know.
You
actually probably could have had someone else on the team kick it. You could have had your punter kick it. Actually,
100%.
I would have had my punter
open tryouts for kickers across America, across the country.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're even in athletic tip-top football shape. Kick the damn field goal because you're probably better than what we're seeing right now.
Carly Lloyd, call her up.
Yeah, for real.
I'm like still waiting for her to
for
be
real.
Called. Like,
I would love to see that. 100%.
Like, let's see it. Listen, I 100% appreciate your get it off your chest because I feel your passion behind it. I'm passionate about it too. I'm angry about it. It's so silly. You're right. It's Justin Tucker against the world. It's literally his world. We're just
I'm angry about it. And I'm not a Jaguars fan.
No.
Imagine if you're a Jaguars fan, how angry you had to be seeing your team go for it on 4th and not get it.
Yeah, no, 100%. All right, so mine's a little bit more lighthearted, and it ties in football, charities, and doggos and animals. So it's
already makes me happy.
In the past, prior to the 2020 season, the New York Giants picked up Logan Ryan,
right?
Promising defensive player from the Tennessee Titans.
Been playing well.
Great. Yeah, we hit a great game last week. And whatever. So obviously I started following him on all social media accounts as I do for all of our Giants players. And what I always appreciate is what these guys do in the off season, do on their, downtime, things like that. I love when they spend their time doing things. They're just going to better the world. These guys make so much money. Like
It's what you hope for people who make that much money.
A lot of them are out partying and doing stupid shit, like we mentioned earlier.
I don't care if you're out partying and doing stupid shit as long as you give back.
Be smart. So I actually found out through Logan Ryan's Instagram that he has a nonprofit in relation to animals and dogs. So it is called the Ryan Animal Rescue Foundation. So I think RARF is their, or like, like RARF, like is their, it's a
cute.
Name. It's in like a bone. It's really cute. So basically how it started, his wife was a college athlete as well and was trying to figure out her career path and things like that. They ended up adopting a pit bull early on, and the pit bull didn't have a great life prior. And that's kind of, so she knew that she wanted to be in kind of like animal adoption and that kind of field. So it wasn't her just trying to steer her career that way. You know, Logan wanted to get involved too and wanted to be there. So he actually started in 2015. He called it Ryan's Monthly Rescue. So he had a big social media presence, obviously. Course, So he worked with a local animal shelter and would go to his Instagram profile and take pictures with, you know, say the dogs that needed to be adopted, and ended up like housing so many, got forever homes for all these animals.
You have all those people seeing that.
And the pictures are so, you got to go to the website. They're so cute, whatever, things like that. So obviously he used social media to spread awareness, which is, you know, it's huge. Social media does big things. So after, you know, they did that for 2 years and they thought it was super successful. So they turned it into RFFNJ. So they turned it into the Ryan Animal Rescue Foundation in May of 2017. So basically they're dedicated to supporting the animal community with financial and educational resources. So I love the fact that it's both finance and education, because it's understanding how to take care of animals. Why are some animals, you know, being put up for adoption? Why are some not being, you know, being neglected? Things like that. So it's not just money, you know, because money doesn't, we've seen that money just doesn't solve everything sometimes. So I love that part of it. So it says, we partner with animal welfare organizations around the world promoting adoption, offering grants and education to better the lives of animals. So you can help them in so many ways. You can donate. You can, I think if you're in, you know, the area, they just moved to New Jersey, obviously, but he was big in Tennessee. Like there's areas to go and help out. So it's RyanAnimalFoundation.org where you can learn about all of it. It truly is. I keep looking at it on social media. I follow it now on social media because I love it so much. And again, I just love when players do this, you know, it's almost like a side gig for them, but they probably love it. Like
that would be my route if I had that kind of social media following and I was famous as a celebrity. Help the poopers.
Help, like Lisa Vanderpump, like she got her dog thing, like help the dogs.
Love it.
I know, you know, big with the animals, but like, you know, help the dogs, specifically the dogs. But I think I saw it recently on the page that a local shelter, I believe it's in Tennessee, because obviously he just relocated. He was able to donate over like $26,000 to this one like area. And that's it's insane. So again, like it's not just finances, like it's the educational part too. And I just think it's great that they're doing big things. And it's just,
I love it.
It's him and his wife just kind of waking up and being like, we have to give back. Like this is what we're passionate about. So he's clearly passionate about football, you know, but you know, seeing his family, you know, passionate about, they always post about their dogs too. They've got very cute dogs. So definitely go check that out. But I just, major kudos.
I like
so that's my positive, get it off my chest.
I like it. I'm glad you went second.
Didn't end the night on a bad term.
All right. Things you don't want to miss this week. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Real Housewives of Orange County, the season 15 premiere is tonight at 9 o'clock. We got 7 minutes. You know, catch it. Absolutely. I know everybody's very excited about it. Real Housewives of Potomac on Sunday at 9 p.m. There is no Thursday night football, people. Please make note of that.
I'm going to go to bed early.
It was moved to Monday Night Football. So we have 2 Monday Night Football games. But on Sunday Night Football, we have the Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. That is a division matchup. Going to be a good one. Monday Night Football, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills, 2 of the really strong AFC teams this year. That could be a potential playoff match. So everybody pay attention to that one. And then the game, then we also have the Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboys.
might go to sleep
good that they
early.
got Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I know. It's
an
a huge,
experience,
yeah.
Pretty much the most experienced backup in the NFL. And you got
It's
him.
probably
And people,
the smartest offseason.
people scratch
off-season
their
decision
heads.
they made.
Why did you get him when you
Nope.
have Dak? And now look
Here
what
we are.
happens. So I think they're feeling pretty grateful that they have Andy Dalton,
Absolutely.
and he's very capable of winning football
Played well
games.
against
So
the Giants. So
all right. Well, thank you guys so much
Yeah.
for joining us.
I'm out of
Oh,
line.
she's out. I got a little bit left.
there's a little bit left, so. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Still saying bye.